going live on YouTube, which we now are. Welcome everybody to Martinis with Scott. I'm just going to do a just our regular quick midday touch base and say hello. Today I'm going to cover, just go back to the working remote from an employer's perspective. Welcome on YouTube. Those that joined us, anybody on Instagram live stream, just say hello, reaching out to followers. On YouTube, do you have a topic you want me to cover today, or should I press on with remote work? Checking out the comments. All right, let's push forward. So Wall Street Journal this morning. Well, actually, let me say that I did a show maybe a week or two ago that people seemed to like. There was lots of comments on it about working from home, and that I just generally reject the idea that things will not go back to normal. Everybody's saying, hey, things aren't going to go back to normal. We got this new work from home, this new remote work. There's US cities like Tulsa giving you big checks to move to their community because you can work remotely on the coasts, what have you. And, there's going to be a hybrid is my proposition. Excuse me. There's going to be a hybrid. There's going to be a lot of employers that don't think it's possible, that don't like the culture and the team issue that results from homework as opposed to coming to a common office. And there's a social side. There's a whole social side from the employee's perspective and the employer's perspective that's getting missed out on. And so, a couple of my points were, if you think about it from the employee's perspective, why do they like working from home? No commute. That's the big one. There's no commute. It's just easier for them. You can wake up in the morning, you can jump on Zoom. We're in a global pandemic, so that has forced us to do that. But the lack of commute, the lack of having to go through the fuss of getting dressed, if you're a guy, shaving, whatever women do, what do I know, and going to the office and then commuting back home afterwards and being tired and you don't have dinner ready and all that sort of stuff. It's easier. It's just easier to work from home. And what are you missing out on? You're missing out on the social if you like that sort of thing. From the employer's perspective, the big benefit, which everybody talks about, is the real estate. It's the real estate side of this. You don't have to have the office. It's a tremendous expense. We just canceled some of our real estate in Toronto. It doesn't take effect for 3 or 4 months, but it's a great expense that maybe you don't want to carry. But what are the downsides? It is harder to manage in a virtual firm when everybody is remote. That's just a fact. It's harder, out of sight, out of mind. Is the employee doing what you want them to be doing? How do you know? How do you know they're putting in a full workday? Maybe they're putting in a half a workday. Maybe they have another job on the side. We don't even know about it. As an employer, you have these unless you create a whole administrative system to monitor what's going on, you start with paranoia. You can't build culture. You can't build a team environment. You can't build the social side of a firm. And that's been my proposition. So I think managers, CEOs, business owners are going to find different ways to try to deal with these challenges. But if you think it's not a challenge, you're wrong. I was on Clubhouse the other day. I may have mentioned this before, I don't recall. And there was a room about this very topic. And somebody said, hey, well, how are HR departments going to evolve? What if you have employee A? What if you have Joe and Jane, and Joe decided to stay home and become just stay a remote worker full time, and Jane went to the office every day, and they were exactly the same. There's a promotion. They have the same performance reviews. They do the same job. Who's going to get the job? Like, isn't the person that stayed home, isn't Joe prejudice on this? And how are HR departments going to evolve to fix that problem? And I think the answer is dead simple. They're not. They're not going to. If you're a supervisor, if you're a boss, if you're the owner, if you're whatever, and you're responsible for picking the person for this promotion, you're going to pick the person that you see in the face every day, that you go out for a beer with after work, that you go for lunch with. That's who you're going to pick. That's what humans are. That's how they behave. You can't HR your way out of that problem. If you're working from home and everybody else is working at the office, you're going to miss out. you're just going to miss out. And that's going to be a real problem for you. So I threw that out before. Sinclair Range has been a remote firm for a long time. The holdings that we have are not remote. They're not virtual, right? You don't have a manufacturing plant. People have to show up. That's the way it is. But the investment banking side of Sinclair Range has been remote, except what we used to do pre-COVID is we used to have dinners and drinks almost weekly in different markets where we have offices. We'd take people out, we'd get together, we'd have a social function, and we created that culture. And it's been hard. It's been hard during COVID to miss out on that cultural, social part of the firm. And it causes me a lot of stress as the owner, as the CEO. It causes me a lot of stress just to, try to stay on top of the teamwork and see if people are working together, working as a team. It's difficult. It's difficult. So on that front, why did I bring this up again? Wall Street Journal this morning, Jamie Dimon, no D on the end of that, Chief Executive Officer of JP Morgan Chase and Co. So I think they're the largest bank in the U.S. now. Certainly one of the most respected CEOs in the U.S. So it was an interview with Jamie, and he talked about how bullish he was on the U.S. economy, that it might be a Goldilocks economy, meaning that there's going to be for another year and a half, unless the government screws it up, the federal government, there's going to be high growth and low inflation. That's all cool. So then he says, towards the end of this article, coming out of the pandemic, Mr. Dimon is eager for other signs of normalcy. More JP Morgan employees will return to the office starting this month being May. Though Mr. Dimon acknowledges they aren't all happy about it, but the remote office, he said, doesn't work. It doesn't work for generating ideas. That's the water cooler talk. It doesn't work for preserving corporate culture, as I just talked about and as I told you about a couple of weeks ago. It doesn't work for competing for clients. So what does competing for clients mean? That's kind of code for going for drinks and dinner, walking across the road or across Midtown and competing by socializing and building a connection with that particular client. It doesn't work for that. And it doesn't work for, quote, those who want to hustle. And I think that's honestly my biggest personal stress during this whole pandemic. I just feel like I'm not hustling. I'm not out of the house. I'm not in my suit. I'm not hitting the ground. I'm not hustling. I don't feel like I am. I'm doing everything I possibly can by Zoom. It doesn't feel the same. It's not as effective as getting out and doing your thing. It's hard for me to put words to that. But here you go. Jamie Dimon is saying the same thing. So he's basically said exactly what I've said. Culture suffers, creativity suffers, sales suffers, and remote work doesn't work for those that want to hustle. Thank you, Faf405, for joining us on the live stream on Instagram. So we want people back at work, he says, and my view is sometime in September, October, it will be back to just like it did before. It'll look just like it did before. So here is the most respected CEO in the US who's saying there won't be any remote work. It's going to look just like it did before by September, October. Mr. Dimon says, yes, people don't like commuting, but so what? Exactly what I told you a couple of weeks ago, but so what? It's great for the employees to want to work from home. Everybody wants to work from home, right? You miss out on the drinks, but you can go out for drinks with your friends anyways. But they want to work from home. They want to avoid the commute. They just want to do the lazy route. They don't want to get up and shower and shave and all that sort of stuff. And he's saying people don't like commute, but so what? That's what you're paid for. He says it's better than the alternative. Sorry, Instagram was paused as my battery went low. It's better than the alternative. He says, I'm about to cancel all of my Zoom meetings. I'm done with it. Okay. Couldn't agree more. I'm excited to get back to work as normal as quickly as possible. I just wanted to do a short touch base today. A couple of shows coming up on Martinis with Scott on the YouTube channel. We're going to post some live recorded podcasts we did on Clubhouse. Should be terrific if I can get the sound quality a little bit better. Anything else anything else anyone wants me to talk about on YouTube, on Instagram, anything? All right. Thanks for listening. I'm going to disconnect on Instagram first today. Done. And on YouTube. Thanks. We'll touch base tomorrow.